Well, here it is. Look at this. It's been a long time since we've seen that logo, right? This is the Anniversary Collection Arcade Classics, and how are you feeling? You got John Riggs here, and I never want to be that guy that apologizes for video quality. However, my computer that I normally grab footage from, that I can actually, capture footage from screen instead of just pointing my camera to the Switch itself, isn't available right now. It's being worked on. So, but I wanted to get this video to you because I think this is a pretty neat collection. The Anniversary Collection, this is the Arcade Classics, hopefully Volume 1. Has some awesome games on here that I grew up playing. And I'll kind of tell you the pros and cons here. I'll just go through the games really quickly here, then I'll show you a little bit of gameplay footage from each one. We got Scramble, Twin Bee, Nemesis, this is what we knew as Gradius, Life Force, this is what we knew as Life Force, but it came out as Salamander in Japan. Interesting. We got Typhoon, it's a game I admittedly hadn't heard of until I played this game. Haunted Castle, this is the arcade Castlevania. Then Vulcan Adventure, another game I hadn't heard of. And Thundercross, pretty cool game. And then at the very end, too, there's a bonus book, and I'll show you a little bit of that at the very end, too. We'll start with Scramble. I remember playing a lot of this in the arcade when I was growing up, just because it had kind of a fun, neat feature to it. Now, before I start into the gameplay here, it just shows you, the arcade style. And then we have some settings. Options load, we can, save along the way. Certain game settings, too, if you want to make it easier. Now, I've already gone through every game and give me the maximum amount of lives and put it on easy. I'm just here to enjoy the game. I don't need a challenge. Display settings as well if you want to try, doing some blurring just to make it look like how it might have looked in the arcade back in the day. Or put a frame around it if you'd like. I usually have mine turned off. You can also set up the controls too the way you want them, but we'll go ahead and just start the game here. X is insert coin. You can insert as many coins as you want. Doesn't matter. And you can also set up your controls so it's like if it's a shooter, you can have turbo. It does not default to turbo. But here's Scramble. Old school style, You can almost kind of see how this game became kind of a Gradius game. But it's kind of cool how it would change colors along the way and stuff like that. So there's a quick look at that. Like I said, we're just doing quick looks here. Whoop. Doing a quick Scrabble, yes. Twin Bee. This is a fun one. If you're not familiar with Twin Bee, it did come out in America as Stinger. And there's a few games for the Famicom. 2-player, simultaneous. And then, like I said, that is my turbo both. Includes the ring system, which is risk versus reward. If you can get it to bounce a certain amount of times, change color, you can grab it for either points or for power-ups. That's how you power up yourself. Yeah, so, very cool game. Quit Twin Bee, yes. We have Nemesis. You'll recognize this for sure, but this is also the arcade version. This is not the NES version, I didn't set up my turbo for this one yet. But you get those. You can choose your power-ups along the way, so it's like, I like having 2 speed-ups, so I can move out of enemy way. I've always loved the soundtrack to these games, too. Yeah, you know what I mean. Very cool. Gradius. We have Life Force. This one is like Gradius, but it takes place inside a human body, or inside a body. And instead of getting power-ups, like the NES version, you had the Gradius system of power-ups. This one it will make you choose which one you get. Like, you can't just choose it. You're just like, okay, well, there's my option. And here's, a weapon power-up. This was always a favorite of mine for the NES. I love the fact that you're, inside a body. Anyway. Now, Typhoon was a game I hadn't heard of before, so I was excited to play this one. It's very Afterburner-like. I mean, not just from that screen, but, check this out. You kind of dive bombing through clouds to get to the, you know, the boss enemy. Oh, I already died? Wow, that was quick. I never said I was good at this game. Wow. Certainly you can do better than me on your first try ever. I mean, it's hard because you have to shoot the guys, but then you also avoid their missiles, but you can't really see their missiles. Missiles track you a little bit. Boy, the name of the game is just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Yep, that's your gun. You also have your own missiles. A little like Top Gun, I suppose, but yeah, this certainly reminds me of like an Afterburner. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, here comes my first boss. Contra style. Can you see where I'm supposed to hit? See that glowing light there? Ah, you get it. You get what I'm saying. Now this was very cool to see. Excellent soundtrack. Actually, a little story, like you get married. The first stage music of this, I know I have it turned down a little bit. The first stage music of this is from, they put it in Smash. Insanely difficult. We had an arcade in my hometown growing up that had this in there. And it's like, man, it was a quarter bunch. Because like, I loved Castlevania, and I kept trying to play it. I could never, ever, ever get past the first level. In fact, it wasn't until I played this game that I was actually able to get past the first level, because you could tone down the difficulty, get yourself some extra lives. The controls aren't nearly as responsive as, like, say, Castlevania for the NES. And the enemies take off way too much damage. And when I get to a certain point here, you have one life. Game over. Put in another quarter. Wow. Well, fortunately, this game has unlimited quarters. But cool to see Haunted Castle on a home system. Got 2 games left here. I'll go through these pretty quickly. Vulcan Adventure. Classic. So, oh, this looks familiar, doesn't it? Well, if you're familiar, I was like, Vulcan Adventure, cool. No, it's Gradius 2. This is what Japan got. Like, you know, if you have like Gradius 2 for the Famicom, that's this. See, that's why I need my speed up. They did not include Gradius 3, if you're wondering. I wish they would have too, but it's alright. Maybe if they ever make a volume 2 or something. Anyway, Gradius 2. Cool to have. So I was like, I've never heard of that game. Then when I played it, I was like, oh, I have played that game. Well. And many of these games are also 2-player as well. So if you have, like, you know, 2 Joy-Cons or whatever, this game's nice because you start off with, you know, at least some power-ups. So you're not completely just, you know, out in the open. Especially, like, you know, we play those games like Gradius, and you're, like, fully souped up, and then you die, and you come back with, like, nothing. And you're like, oh, it's such a drag. But it's another game. I mean, there are so many of these games like it, you know, games like this out there. You use your middle bomb to blow things up. Sweetness. And then finally, stuff I like, which is like the extra stuff, the bonus book. This kind of takes you through a little bit of the history of Konami. You can also zoom in on the page here. Say like, oh, here's some games that came out in the 80s. You know, Tutankhamun, played that a lot. Puyon, great game. Rock and Rope, one of my favorite arcade games growing up. Frogger, I'll still play Frogger today. Oh. And we'll go through this. We're not going to go through the whole book, but it is kind of cool to give you, you know, a few screenshots. See what's going on. You know, they focus on some of the games that they already have on this collection as well. You know, other games that they could have included, bottom of the 9th. You know, there's Gradius 3. Got Contra. They're going to be doing a Contra collection here soon. This same company, Konami. Both a Castlevania collection and a Konami collection. I do kind of wish Haunted Castle was on the Castlevania collection, so they would have made room for something like a Puyon or a Black Hole or something, or Crime Fighters. That was a fun beat 'em up. And I also do wish that it was not as many shooters. I love shooters, But this game, I mean, they could have had the Konami Shooter Collection. But this is the Arcade Collection, when 5 of the 6 games what is it, 7 of the 8 games are shooters of sorts, and then Castlevania, which could have been on the other one. So I wish they would have maybe have done that for us. But again, for the price, it's like, what, $20? It's not so bad, right? It's kind of cool to see. A little bit there. They talk about the soundtrack a little bit too. I want to show you that too. There's like some drawings. And then this thing I thought was very interesting, if I can get there. Shows you a little bit of the box art. There's a lot of pages in this book. Just have to keep going though. Because well, I'll just spoil it for you. They actually have sheet music to the music of the games. There's like, you know, hand-drawn. It's gonna go through every game. If this was like a solid book, like an actual book you could buy at the store, I mean, I'll be all over it. Here's Fantastic Power from Twin Bee. Actually, you know, play that on the piano or play that on the violin or something like that, and make that happen. So again, this is the Anniversary Collection Arcade Classics from Konami. It's available now. I think it's a pretty neat collection. I am looking forward to the Castlevania collection. I am looking forward to the Contra collection, and hopefully looking forward to an Arcade Classics Volume 2. Volume 2, you could put, you know, Rock and Rope on there. It's on the arcade collection for the DS. But you can also include, you know, games like Crime Busters, you know, or even Gradius 3. That'd be fine. I mean, I'd like to see that on there too. But there's a lot of great games out there, and this is just, you know, for the price point, I think it's worth it. Some great shooters on here, but again, it's like, man, they could have switched it up a little bit. Cool to see Haunted Castle, but a whole lot of shooters. If you like shooters, perfect. But you know, they could have changed it up a little bit, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games on here. Interesting, very cool. But anyway, I thank you for watching, and more videos are always on the way, so keep it subscribed and get the notifications if you need. Make sure you join the Discord, and I appreciate your support. Thank you much.